Ladies and gentlemen, today we have Bill Maher. Just kidding. You didn't think I learned my lesson from last time? No. I had 5,000 of y'all in the comments roasting my behind for saying this guy's last name wrong. So we have Bill Maher, okay? And basically, he's going in on Whoopi, okay? Like, to the max, right? But he also brings something up that may be a sensitive topic for some people in terms of the reality of a white person versus a black person, right? And as a person of color, hey, look, let's get into it. Let's get into the video because I don't want to spoil it right ahead of time. Without further ado, we get right into it. If you're sensitive, there's the door. Let's rock.
Many texts this week because she attacked me the week before.
Sure.
So she was, everybody was like, "Oh, Bill, I get you're enjoying the karma." First of all, I'm going to talk about this at the end of my show next week, teaser. But there is no fucking thing as karma, okay? Get over that. Whoopi attacks me on a regular basis. She says stupid shit on a regular basis. They just happen to coincide. But can I just say this? I had on last week Ira Glasser, former longtime head of the ACLU, talking about free speech. Whoopi Goldberg, who, by the way, I hope is still a friend. We can disagree with each other. Should not be canceled or put off her show, as much as I totally disagree with her crazy statement. Free speech. She should be there. She shouldn't get a timeout.
Not every...
And before she speaks, I 1000% agree, right? At the end of the day, of course, a lot of us on this channel don't agree with what they say, but at the end of the day, they should be able to and should be allowed to say what they want because of free speech, right? Just free speech, right? And I think that's important. And not only that, imagine a world where we all agree on the same stuff. Like, that would be a really boring world, right? If everybody just agreed. Like, no. It's good to have some disagreements. It's good to have some discourse. It's good to have some back and forth. It's healthy, right? But when it gets to a point where, you know, you calling people out of their name, that's when it's a little bit right? So I ain't rock with that. But anyway, back to the video.
Every single thing has to be for everybody.
Right.
We can have platforms that have stuff on them that not everyone on that platform or who consumes stuff on that platform enjoys. And The View is a particularly weird place to do a cancellation.
It's called The View?
It's called The View. It's not called The Facts.
Yeah, but
It's
isn't it interesting that it's called, I mean, I don't think they meant this when Barbara Walters invented it a long time ago, but it's The View.
Well,
that's the problem in America.
But
There is one view,
right, and
one
that's clearly
true opinion, and everybody else can go sit in the corner.
That's correct. I think that's not actually, you're right, the name raises questions, and certainly there's been some much covered internal politics on that show, but I do think that, you know, there is space. Even that show does have space. When Whoopi said what she said, there was quick pushback from other panelists. They were like, oh, I don't know, actually.
I actually disagree with Bill Maher real quick. I disagree. There is not one view in this country. And there's a lot of countries where there is one view and one way that most people see the world and have certain laws. And I know this because, you know, I've traveled a little bit, not too much, but a little bit, right? And yeah, that's the reality of the situation. In fact, it's the opposite here. You have a lot of different views. This is why they call it the melting pot. However, yes, we do strive to make it a better environment for people to have their own views. But hey, to each his own. Back to the video.
I think that might not be right. That's it. Mission accomplished. We talked about it.
Can we just understand that part of our sorry racial history in this country is that the point of view from a black person is often going to be very different and sometimes shocking to a white person. I pulled the quote from when Whoopi defended Michael Vick. Remember Michael Vick was the football player who was electrocuting dogs? Yeah. And I'm a lifelong PETA board member. You know, okay. You know, also someone who believes the Nazis were very racist. Okay.
Oh, you.
But here's what she said about Michael Vick. He's from the South. This is part of his cultural upbringing. For a lot of people, dogs are sport. Instead of just saying he's a beast and he's a monster, this is a kid who comes from a culture where this is not questioned. Okay? You see the point here? Again, I don't agree with her on Michael Vick, but we grew up in two different worlds. which the white people imposed upon the black people. They are going to sometimes have a very different opinion. And the answer is not to make them sit in a corner for 2 weeks. That is insulting. It's so insulting to make a 65-year-old, I mean, the person at ABC News said, I've asked her to take time to reflect and learn about the impact of her comments. Reflect. How insulting for someone of her age, who's a sophisticated person, and the impact of her comment. There is no impact. There aren't neo-Nazis waiting for the green light from the lady on The View to go out and do a new crystal knot.
Yeah, you're so right. And the whole point of free speech is we don't need free speech when we're right, when everyone agrees with us. We need free speech when we're wrong. We need free speech to make mistakes. We need free speech to say really unpopular things. And one of the reasons I'm always proud to come on this show, and I suspect you feel the same way, Catherine, is this is the only space left on television where people can speak freely and not be terrified, right?
Yes.
And you have, you know, and I just want to say that, you know, I'm conscious that you have the scars on your back for fighting to keep that there from 9/11 right
sure
to
I'll get them tonight.
years, right? And it's hugely to your credit that you fought to do that.
Thank
That
you.
is hard.
Finish
right?
your thought.
No,
No, let him.
All right, guys. So, look, I will say, and I'm going to give Bill Maher this credit. He definitely, especially leading up to the election and even after, you know, had a bunch of different diverse guests, right? And I don't feel like he was, well, sometimes he was, but for the most part, he wasn't pushing an agenda, right? I do not feel like he was doing that. I feel like he would let them talk freely, give their opinion, and he would push back. I do not feel like Bill Maher came with a certain agenda that he was trying to push and something he was trying to portray. I never got that vibe or feeling from him at all. Maybe you guys did. Let me know. Feel free to let me know in the comments. Maybe you disagree with me. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, I don't know. But based on what I saw, that's not the case. So I will agree with this guy there. And he mentioned something about people of color. So as a person of color, maybe I could kind of speak to it as far as the diversity, right? And the different experiences that we may have, right? And again, if this is a sensitive topic, totally get it. I mean, look, just keeping it real with you, 1000%, right? I, of course, see the world completely different, but I am not going to play the victim card. I am not the type of person to say, oh, you know, I'm a person of color and life is just so much harder. No, not necessarily, right? When you're a lion and you're born in the jungle, right, you may look at that lion and say, wow, he has to fend for himself. He has to, you know, he spends hours and hours a day hunting for this gazelle and all that. All that is normal to the lion. That's all the lion knows, right? That doesn't make it good. I mean, you know, but it is what it is. That's how you're in a jungle. You got to survive. You know what I mean? And hopefully that was a good analogy, right? To kind of compare. Obviously, I'm not saying we're lions, but you guys know what I mean, right? Okay. So yeah, ultimately we live completely different lives in terms of our experiences, and it's not just people of color and it's all different nations everywhere, right? It has a different experience, right? But it's about coming together and sharing our ideas and being civilized. Goodness gracious. That's literally it. So much of the past 6 months, I have seen the opposite of being uncivilized, right? So anyway, that's enough of my rant, guys. Let me know if you agree with what I'm saying. Make sure you leave a like if you agree with what I'm saying. Maybe you disagree with what I'm saying. Maybe you think, yo, this guy's off his rocker, right? All right, let me know in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you need the subscribe button and kick the like button for more. Until next time, peace.